Yeah.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to Pugh's Pumpkin Patch and welcome to spring, finally.
The birds are singing.
It is. The last time we were out here, we were freezing cold, we had big coats on,
Yeah,
and
that's
now
right.
the sun is shining. It's a beautiful
Fantastic,
day.
yeah.
And perfect timing because we're actually getting started today, aren't we? I'm really excited.
Yes. We're going to get our fingers dirty. We're going to get our hands in some compost. Yes, I might have to get my gloves off. You know, I love the feel of compost on my hands and getting stuck in there.
Why not?
So we're going to do some seed sowing.
Yes, so we're actually starting off our pumpkins today. We start them off in these little seed trays first because they have to grow inside first. Is that right, Roger?
So yes, we're doing this in late April, and the nighttime temperatures is what you have to watch, and it's getting down to about 5 degrees this week, which is it's not frosty weather, but it's not far from it. And what's that expression there? Cast a clout till May is out. So there we are. Yeah. Basically, just be careful about planting out tender plants for the next few weeks. So we're timing this so that the plants should be up and be ready to plant out at the end of May, which is when the risk of frost should be gone. So although we're planting them outside, we are going to have them just next to the office here, and the lovely office staff. You know the office staff there?
They're fabulous.
Fantastic, yes. They said they want them inside overnight if there's a cold night forecast. Otherwise, they can be outside in the sun, and they should germinate. If you've got a little like a little patio greenhouse or any sort of kind of I suppose like a shed with a big window. I use my porchway sometimes.
Perfect.
If my wife will let me.
And I suppose if you were in a smaller space, would a sunny windowsill
Sunny
suffice?
windowsill, yeah.
Right.
So anyway, just because it's nice to be outside while the birds are singing, we thought we'd do this outside. So we've got some compost in our trays here, and what we're going to do is give it a little tap down, just like that.
What does this do, Roger?
So this allows the compost to settle a little bit, and you can see that the level of compost has gone down a little bit in the trays. So we're just going to sprinkle a little bit, not too much. That's it. You don't want to, some people go around and they're kind of firming down the compost. I don't like doing that because you need to have some air spaces in the compost. You need it still to be quite loose and open so that the roots can make their way in. So a little tap there just allows it to compact a little. Okay, so now it's gloves off time.
Gloves off. Gloves off. We mean business.
Oh yes, the gloves are off. So we've got some sunflowers here. We've got a few different types of sunflowers, and you've got some pumpkins.
I've got all the pumpkins.
Okay.
So I've got my favourite zombie one, and then some others here as well.
Okay, so with the sunflowers, let's have a look at the seeds here. So we've got a mixture of different types of sunflowers in this particular mix, and you could put one seed per cell. So when I say cell, this little tray here, which is made from old recycled plastic water bottles.
Oh, amazing!
Yes, so that's great, isn't it? So we've got 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3. So got a calculator? I think that's 9. Yeah. So we've got 9 little pots there, or cells, and I tend to, with sunflowers, put 2 per cell. You could put 1. Can you see them just there? So there's a seed which has gone in there, and there's another one just there, and I just press them lightly into the compost. Let me do another 2 just in front of you there. I'm not going to show Amy because she's going to have to do it on her own just now in a minute. So 1, 2, and then just push them in lightly in there, and then we can just gently brush the compost so that they're just covered by a couple of millimeters of compost. Was that visible? So Amy, I better show you. So you could do 1 per cell, 1 seed per cell, and some people would say that's the best way to do it. But if the seed doesn't germinate, then so having 2 in there, the worst that will happen is you'll have 2 seedlings, and I would plant them as 1 plant and just get double the number of flowers. So 2 on the top, and then just a gentle press into the compost and cover them over.
In my mind, as a total novice to this, I just assumed that seeds had to go all the way down and be surrounded by soil. So that's really interesting to learn that it is literally just a gentle.
If you think about it in nature, when the sunflower's in flower, the seeds drop and they just trickle onto and then maybe over the winter, the wind will blow a bit of soil around. They might get covered by a few millimeters of soil. So all we're doing is mimicking what might happen in nature. So do you want to have a go with
sunflowers? Yeah.
Okay. So we've got roughly 2 per cell there. This is a great task for youngsters to have a go at. So if you've got children or grandchildren that want to have a go at growing some flowers. And the thing with sunflowers is that because they're so quick growing and so spectacular, and then that last one is there, they'll just here, yeah, they'll get quick results, and the joy and the satisfaction of seeing those flowers within a few months. They can be, say, taller than me. That's not saying much, is it? But they can get 6, 7, 8 foot high very quickly. And then we've got another row. You don't get off that easily.
Oh.
So, what do these need now then?
Water. Yes.
Very good. Yes, and it's a balancing act at the moment for the next few weeks until they start to grow. You want them to be damp but not too wet. How would you gauge that?
Well, with my house plants, I just check the soil. I literally dip my finger into the soil. If it feels still a bit wet, I leave them be, and if it feels dry, then I'll give them some water.
And are your house plants happy?
I think so, yeah. I like to pride myself on my house plants.
They haven't complained yet, have they?
No.
So yeah, that's the trick, is to check regularly, but if it feels damp, don't water.
So that's just a case of you going out into wherever your seeds are, sort of every day, or
I think so. Every day or so, just check them to see if they're still damp. If they are still damp, no more water. If they're a bit dry, give them a little drink. Yeah, and then with the sunflowers, normally within 10 days or so, you should see the little shoot starting to. Oh, it's an exciting moment. Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. So, and if you're doing this at home, please, show us some photographs of your progress, particularly when they start to germinate, so we can compare seedlings.
Definitely.
So that's the sunflowers done. Okay, now we're on to the pumpkins. So we've got some pumpkin seeds.
Yeah, we've got a range. I've opened the baby bear packet, so I thought that sounded quite cute.
Yeah, okay.
So there's literally exactly what you find when you carve your pumpkin at Halloween. That's what's inside.
So a much bigger seed there. So there we go. Now the thing with pumpkin seeds, they say that rather than sowing them flat, you should sow them on their side, like that, on their edge. Now I've done it both ways and it's worked both ways for me, but I tend to now do them on their edge, like that. So if I do a couple, I can just show our camera. Yeah, okay. So there they are, just on their edges, just underneath the surface of the compost, and we're just going to lightly cover them with some compost just there. So that's the pumpkin seeds.
Yep.
Do you want to have a go at the rest of those?
Definitely.
So I'm doing these one per cell.
One per cell.
Because these will be bigger plants, bigger seeds, so they, they'll, if they do germinate,
You've done these two,
I've done those two, yeah.
So on their side like that.
That's it.
And then you push them in a little
Gently,
bit.
yeah, that's it. Perfect, yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, we're going to grow these pumpkins and we're going to plant them into our new Pugh's pumpkin patch. Again, it'll be towards the end of May or even early June, and we would love you to come back and join us when we start planting these out. So that's the pumpkins done. I think we probably ought to get some labels as well, so we remember which ones are which, and we'll get those in a nice sunny spot outside, nice warm spot outside. Inside, if you've got a suitable space. The worst thing you can do is put these inside in the shade. Don't do that, because otherwise they'll all come up very, very leggy, and you get a lot of people who've got seedlings that are leggy and they're falling over. They need light. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And how long is it roughly then before the pumpkins will start sort of sprouting?
I would say maybe a little bit longer than the sunflowers. So maybe kind of 2 weeks. 15 to 20 days, something like that. Yeah, they'll be up, and yeah, and we'll nurture them in the same way. Water them if the compost feels dry. If the compost feels damp still, don't water. You can overwater, and that's not a good thing. The other seed we could sow straight into the ground is the nasturtiums over there. Should we go and have a look at that?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Follow us and we'll do some planting in the ground. So we're over here now. This is the sort of edge of the pumpkin patch, which we wanted to plant with some lovely flowers, just so there's some interest and things to look at before the pumpkins grow themselves. Yes,
and these are lovely bright red and orange and yellow flowers, and they're edible actually. So we did wonder whether or not these nasturtium flowers, let's just remind our our friends. So these are nasturtiums, and very colourful through the summer, very easy to grow. And the difference between these and the sunflowers is that these guys are quite hardy, they're quite tough, they can go outside, and thankfully they don't like to have soil that's particularly good. Which, as it happens...
What are you saying about our pumpkin patch, Roger?
We just thought we'd prepare a nice hole and discovered that actually it's almost solid with gravel and clay and grit and so on. So, but actually with nasturtiums that's useful because that will encourage them to flower rather than to put on leaf. You know, if a plant feels slightly stressed, rather than putting on lots of leafy growth, it will produce flowers, because it's the flowers that produce the seeds to continue the species. So if it feels a bit stressed, so nasturtiums actually, they like a bit of rough soil, but just to help them get germinated, we'll give them a little treat. We'll spoil them for the first month of their life and put some compost in the holes there, a little mix in. There we go. So we're ready for planting. These can take a bit of cold weather. We said with the sunflowers and the pumpkins that we have to watch out for some cold nights and bring them inside if it's a bit if they forecast frost. These nasturtium seeds, quite large seeds again. They can take a bit of frost. So all I'm going to do is put, what have I got there? About five seeds there, 5 or 6 seeds. There we go, 6 seeds. I'm just going to dot them in there and cover them over with a bit of compost. Like that. There we go. That's all there is to it. So we're going to go all the way along the fence here, and we should have then nasturtiums through the summer running through the fence. It'll be brilliant.
Yeah.
So
the chef in the orange tree can come and pick them and pop them on your salads.
Fantastic. So a little bit of water for these as well, because they haven't forecast any rain. Amazingly, we've had quite a dry kind of few weeks. So we'll get some water onto those. And yeah, that's nasturtiums, sunflowers, and pumpkins. Sorted.
Amazing. So yeah, we'll keep you updated on the progress of all of our seeds. We'll send some pictures on Instagram and on Facebook. We'll share those when they start shooting. You can get all excited with us. And then join us next month. What will we be doing, Roger?
Well, I think then the pumpkins and the sunflowers should be up. So I think the next job then is to get the pumpkins. I mean, it is after all Pugh's pumpkin patch. So the pumpkins need to go in by the end of May, early June. We should be frost free. And maybe we can get some children to come and help us do that as well.
That would be lovely. Yeah, definitely. We want this to very much be a community experience.
Yes,
so yeah, we'll definitely get some little green fingers involved. Help us put the pumpkins into the patch.
Any questions? Any updates from what you're doing at home? Please ask and tell us. You know, via the Facebook page or social media channels, wherever it's gone out. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next month.
Brilliant.
Happy gardening.
Bye.